All right, hello everybody, and welcome to episode 13 of the PTFootyPodcast. With me here today, I have Kevin,
Hey, what's up, everybody?
Alex,
How's it going, everybody?
and our special guest tonight, FC Porto Global, aka Simon. What's up with you?
Hey guys, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we're welcome that you are here. It's going to be a good one. We're going to talk, obviously, Benfica, and then the big one, the Clásico. It should be an interesting one, so stay tuned. All right, so let's get Benfica out of the way first. So they played Nacional away. They won 3-1. Gazal with the own goal. And then Tobias Figueiredo, known from Sporting, grabbed the equalizer. Then Carrilho and Raul scored for Benfica, 3-1 scoreline. And Benfica started with Júlio César, Nelson Semedo, Lisandro, Lindelof, and Grimaldo across the back. Fez and André Horta in the midfield, Pizzi, Salvio on the wings, Raul and Jonas up front. So I thought the Benfica are still trying to get the game back together. I think that there's some little bit of a inconsistency. I think that the players are still trying to understand um, what they have to do. I think once players really know some plays, they'll be able to pass around the ball a little bit better, and we'll create plenty more chances. We created enough chances to win, and we did, thankfully, and also Nacional helped us out a bit with that own goal, took off the pressure, and then we managed to get the win, even though Tobias leveled it. I think the defense still needs some work, especially on corners, because we conceded again from a set piece, which is not good to see. I think that Pizzi needs to be benched. I think that's obvious. That's a big decision, but it's got to happen. He hasn't been playing well, and Salvio picked it up in the second half and even managed to hit the post. So he played well. Raul did what Raul does. He works 110% and managed to grab a goal. I was glad to see Jonas back in the game as well. He wasn't at 100%, but you could see that he was working hard and he helped out the team. Definitely a big upgrade on Getch, no doubt. So transfer rumors. There's a rumors that Lindelof might go. I honestly don't really believe in that because if he would have gone, I think it would have been earlier. Samaris and Savio, I do believe that they could be on their way out, especially since Salish was the one that was brought on during the game first, then Samaris, so is going down on the pecking order, and Savio has market, and if Rafa does come, we'll need to release some space on the wings. On the Rafa thing, some people or TSCFs reporting that Benfica waiting until midnight for the club and the agent to get a deal, an agreement, or else everything will fall through. Correio da Manhã is already reporting that Benfica pulled off the deal. Now, we can't believe, we don't know which one of them is true, but we'll see by tomorrow at midnight where everything's over. Nelson Oliveira also left Benfica for Norwich. I hope the guy does well there. And yeah, goodbye. Last things, if I want anyone else to join the club, I just think Rafa. I don't really see anything else we need to improve on. Hopefully he'll come and he'll do well. Now moving on to the most important thing of the whole podcast. We got Sporting and Porto. Obviously, Sporting beat Porto 2-1. Felipe scored for Porto. Then Slimani and Gelson got the remontada, and they won the game for Sporting. So I'm going to start with Sporting here. And Sporting's lineup was Rui Patricio, João Pereira, Coates, Ruben Semedo and Marvin, William and Adrian in the midfield, Bruno César and Gelson on the wings, Brian Ruiz behind Slimani. Now, Alex, what did you think of the game? What did you think of Sporting?
I feel like I can definitely say we did get slightly lucky. Kevin's gonna say, we were super lucky, they should have won the game, but, we got the 3 points, but all that stuff about the handball and all that, come on, man, you guys can't actually believe that, dude.
Yeah, I do actually.
It definitely did not look like a handball to me, anyways.
Of course he
Which
did.
one? Which one though?
The Gelson one was off the chest, and then the Brian Ruiz handball that you guys talked about. Um, it just looked like he was just running in motion, honestly. But
Yeah.
you know, I said we were gonna win. I said like I was confident last podcast, and look what happens. We get 3 points. No
Okay.
surprises, honestly. No surprises.
uh, Alex, during preseason, we saw Skeloto and Jefferson start for most of the time, but three games in, and it's been João Pereira and Marvin. Do you think that they're gonna be the starters for this season?
But they're both playing good. Surprisingly, Jean Pereira is actually playing very well. And Marvin Ziegler, I'm a huge fan of him. He works really hard, so I mean, as long as they keep performing, then I can see why they don't start.
Okay, moving on to something a little more worrisome for you. So João Marti's gone. We already knew that. 45 million euros, or
Yeah,
40 plus 5 million in add-ons.
the most expensive Portuguese player to ever leave, right?
Mm-hmm. And Slimani's next, and Adrian Silva possibly. What are your thoughts on
Uh,
this?
if
What are your
Adrian does, everybody that watches this podcast regularly knows how big of a fan I am of Adrian. If he leaves, I'm gonna be so gutted. Like I'm gonna be so upset, honestly. But he can't leave. If he leaves, then I don't know what we're gonna do because we have nobody to really replace him. The window's over tomorrow, so
Oh, you're gonna cry about it?
I actually might cry about it, Kevin. I actually might.
Oh, baby.
He holds our midfield together. You know, he's our captain, obviously. He can't leave. I don't think he's gonna leave, honestly, because Leicester's not gonna pay his release clause.
Well, he's not gonna leave. He's being held hostage. Of course, he's not leaving.
Yeah, you gotta think that Bruno Carvalho might be doing some more of Carrilho's work, not letting him leave when he wanted to, and who knows what's gonna happen with Adrian. I mean, the guy, Alex, the big issue here is that he publicly stated, "Look, I've been 15 years with Sporting. I've done everything that was possible for me to do there. I want to move on into bigger and greater things." How do you how do you say no to a player that has said that publicly?
I mean, he just signed a contract extension recently, though. So, I mean, if he wanted to leave, then he shouldn't have signed the extension. But I know,
Normally, extensions are about release clauses, though, and the player earning a little bit more. I think Adrian earns about 1.6 million euros. I mean, that's not even a big wage. I mean,
Yeah. Sorry to cut in, guys. But the problem is the English market. They have enormous TV deals, and every club has pockets so deep that the wages they can afford are generally much greater than what the big three can afford in Portugal. So while a lot of our clubs can offer Champions League football, you have to remember a lot of these players, they're going to be retiring when they're mid-30s, but they need to live the rest of their lives on the money that they make now. Some of them obviously will get into TV punditry, run football schools, so on and so forth, but if they can make the money they can make now, then oftentimes they're going to go for it. And it's also a change of scenery as well, to see a country, new city, so on and so forth. So as much as we love our own homegrown players, the salaries sometimes it's enough to sway them, unfortunately.
yeah, like even some of the championship teams can afford more than the big three can. Like the Wolves could be offering Adrian more than we offer him, but um,
it's an issue. It's an issue.
yeah, I really hope he doesn't go.
But on the other side, I've just retweeted this news from 10 minutes ago from Sky Sports, and they say that Jack Wilshere is considering loan offers from Watford, Crystal Palace, Bournemouth, Sporting, and Benfica.
I don't really want him now. He's kind of injury prone, so
He is,
like, he's
but
good like he is a good player when he plays, but I mean, he's injury prone a lot.
Jack Wilshere spends more times in nightclubs than he does on the pitch playing. Let's put it that way.
it sucks because I really like him, but I guess I'm the only one. Alex, what did you think of Joel Campbell?
Um, he's fantastic on the ball, but his decision making, you know, he takes some stupid long shots sometimes. Like he had like three long shots where he wasted our chances, but you know, if JJ can cut that out of his game, then he can be a fantastic player for us during this loan deal.
Um, let's talk about players that left. Everton, Naldo, and Aquilani all left. Is there any need to replace any of them?
Not really, because we needed to cut down some center backs. So, no. And Aquilani's not that good, in my opinion,
Mm-hmm.
anyways. And now I guess JJ likes Bruno Felicia now.
Yeah, apparently
So
that's weird, right? Because
he didn't play at all last season. Didn't play during preseason, and now I guess he's getting some game time for some reason.
yeah, exactly. Like, let me extend this question out to everyone. Can anyone figure out why Bruno Paulista doesn't get 1 minute of preseason, and all of a sudden he's playing season games coming off the bench? Can anyone find any explanation for this?
I don't know. Things like that happen in clubs all the time, though. It happened in Porto where Adrian Lopez was basically frozen out the entire preseason, and then you never know what goes on in the training ground and behind closed doors, and then all of a sudden we send Gonzalo basically away from the team and bring in Adrian Lopez. So it's hard to answer these type of questions. There's a lot of politics.
Yeah, I guess that's the only reasonable explanation. Alex, you made 4 signings in just a week time, and I'm not even counting Andre because we already talked about him. But you signed Castaños, Bas Dost, Douglas, and Pedro Delgado. Now, is there any specific player from these that you're excited to see at Sporting?
I'm pretty excited to see Bastos. Is Delgado official? I didn't see that.
Yeah, it is official. He posted a selfie with Sporting kit. It is official. They signed him up.
Okay. I didn't even see that. But I'm excited to see Bastos. He is a good player. I was reading a bit about him, and apparently he's like a striker that creates. So that could be good if we pair him up with someone else.
He
But
played against Benfica. I mean, it was preseason, but he didn't really do that much. But I've heard that he was very good with Kevin De Bruyne around, and then he slacked off a little bit without him. So maybe it's important to have Gelson start to whip in some good crosses and Brian Ruiz to set him up with some good opportunities.
yeah, well, De Bruyne does make everybody better. He could be playing with any player and to make him better. So, um, but yeah, I'm excited to see him. I'm excited to see Douglas because I still don't think Quattro is that good. He was good last season. I don't really know what happened over preseason though, or over his break. But yeah, I'm excited to see those two. I don't really know much about that Luke, whatever his name is, Castellanos or whatever.
Castaños.
Yeah, I don't know a lot about him, but
Well, Kevin praised him, so I mean he should be decent. But here's also another rumor that I want to ask your opinion about. So I was watching TV yesterday, and something interesting popped up because one of the commentators said that Castaños wasn't wanted by Jorge Jesus, but he was wanted by Bruno Carvalho, and Georgios wanted Andre, so they signed both players. Now, how do you feel about signing a player that is not wanted by the manager?
ah, I don't really know what to tell you. Bruno thinks he's the manager, doesn't he? So I don't know. It's useless. It wastes our money. Like we could have brought in somebody that JJ did want, but I mean, I don't really know what to tell you, honestly.
Yeah, it's not really much to say. Rather than Bruno Carvalho, stick to your job, and you can't even do that one, right? So
Yeah, he looked like he was when JJ got sent off. He looked like he was the manager on the touchline. Like he was making
yes,
his.
it was pretty annoying, and I honestly don't like seeing the president there on the bench because it gives the coach that idea of am I the one that's managing the team or is the guy that's right behind me managing the team? So do you
Yeah.
think that he should drop going to the bench and be in
I
the
think he
stands?
should be in the stands. I've said that before. I don't know. I don't really get why he's there in the
Hmm.
first place.
More to pressure referees, it seems. Moving on to Porto now. Porto lined up with Casillas in goal, Layun, Felipe, Marcano, and Alex Telles across the back. Danilo and Andre, defensive midfielders. Herrera behind Andre Silva, Otavio and Corona on the wings. Guys, I'm gonna start with Kevin. What did you think of the game?
Well, first of all, Alex mentioned that I would assume that they were super lucky, which is complete bull. Uh, they got benefited, and that's the difference. But overall, I enjoyed the way that Porto played. They came out strong. We were all over Sporting. Sporting's defense and their midfield didn't know what to do. They were like running around with chickens with their heads cut off. Uh, and then we scored. And after the goal, it seemed like we let off a little bit. And then, Sporting scored however way they wanted, and well, whatever happened, everybody knows what happened. Um, in the second half, I didn't feel like a sense of urgency from Porto. They still played okay. I would have liked them to press a little bit more, which they didn't. But yeah, it is what it is. The odds were stacked against us, and unfortunately we lost. But yeah, that's how I feel about that, and I can't wait to get in depth here with the Thiago Martins.
Simon, what did you think of Porto's performance?
Well, off the bat, I definitely don't think they did enough to get 3 points. You could probably make a case that a draw would have been fair, but to win the game outright, absolutely no. I agree with what my colleague Kevin said there. I just their performance compared to midweek in Rome. Just the way that they pressed, even before Rome went down to 9 men, the way that they pressed their backline to get the ball back was non-existent basically after the 20-minute mark against Sporting. They did have a good start to the match, going up the goal, but Sporting midfield started to hold the ball longer, and it wore on our legs. The substitutions. We know the quality that Oliver Torres has. He probably just did not have his legs under him yet. He was obviously outcasted by Atletico. I'm not sure exactly how many minutes he had preseason, so I'm not going to claim that he was playing a lot or playing a little. But he only, I believe, had 2 training sessions under Nuno, so there definitely were limited options off the bench. Andre Silva was certainly starved of supply coming up from the wing, which basically starts at the back line. I think Porto lost the game because they couldn't move the ball out from their back line into the midfield. Sporting just seemed to have an extra gear in midfield, and they were just suffocating us through the middle. So it eventually turned into just long balls over the top, and after a while it's just easily predictable. There's only so many times that Andre Silva can do diagonal runs and hope that a perfect overhead ball lands at his foot. I think we've all gone on those rants, and everyone's eaten up the referee decisions about 100 times over. So to bring it up again, it's kind of just a waste of time. I'm just kind of focusing tactically on Porto's game. So. Besides all that, Porto has struggled a lot away to Sporting. I don't think they've won there since 2008, when ironically Nuno was in goals. So, and a week 3 match away to Sporting, playing Rome midweek. I'm not too upset at the performance. There's obviously a long way to go here. So, I think the squad will only be going upwards once Oliver and Jota get integrated. So Um, definitely not a game where they deserve to win. I think they could have made a case for a draw, but lots to play.
All right, you gave me a lot to talk about because I thought that Porto for the first 20 minutes had that extra gear that you were talking about with Sporting. They were all over the place. Andre was making good runs. They were dominating the midfield, and I thought that after they conceded the goal, they pushed their lines to closer to Casillas than they should have. So, what do you think about that?
It was no. Well, let's put it this way: it was no mistake that JJ sent most of his team's attack through the right back spot where Leon was filling in. Leon is a great one-way player, and he was caught out several times, and most of the attacks went through his flank, and that's what caused a lot of issues.
Yeah, I had this question here. I thought that Lyon underperformed massively. What did like honestly? I remember tweeting on my personal account, of course, that I saw Marvin for the first time in the game was like 37 minutes in, and he was on Sporting's attack. I don't remember seeing Lyon go up the field at least in the first half to try and create something. I thought he underperformed massively.
No, yeah, he definitely did. The only thing that really saves him defensively is he's extremely fast, so he can cover back his position quickly. But he's not cut out as a defender for the big matches. He adds a lot offensively, and he is a good utility player. He could patch in midfield, patch in on the wing, but it was no mistake where that Sporting put most of their attacks through his side.
Kevin, did you also think that Lyon underperformed?
Yeah, definitely. Even when he was back trying to defend, he seemed a little bit slow. I know he hasn't played right back really. I can't remember the last time he ever played right back, even including Mexico. But yeah, he was okay, I guess. But yeah, very slow to defend, and I agree with what Simon said. George saw that he can exploit that side of the defense where Layun was defending. And when we first started the game, we were all over Sporting, and I thought that we were going to win the game. We scored. We were all over them. Sporting looked a little bit lost and confused and didn't know what to do. But then JJ, I have to tip my hat to him. He changed the tactic and wanted to clog the middle and defend very well. I think he had the team be a little more aggressive too. Hence the bone-crunching tackles.
He's probably the best coach changing tactics on the fly. He reads the game very well, and even if he starts with the match a certain tactic or formation, he'll change it very quickly, and he's really good at reading the game that way.
Yeah, he is, and he had Sporting adjust very well to what was going on, and he saw right away. I think everybody saw it watching the game. We wanted to attack through the middle, and Sporting was attacking through the wings, mainly through Layun's side of the defense. But yeah, it was so predictable that anybody watching the game could see that we were only trying to go through the middle, and we didn't have we didn't try to go through the wings. It would have been nice to see them mix it up, go through the wings and then go through the middle, and just keep mixing it up and keep them guessing. But JJ picked up on it quick, and I think that might have been the difference that helped Sporting, because after their attack was a bit dangerous on some of the occasions.
No, I think the tactical change is definitely the biggest reason why Sporting won the match, but it comes into play here. How did Nuno not manage to change anything up? Because when you're seeing that your team's doing well and all of a sudden something's gone wrong, you have to realize what you're gonna have to do. And I think that he just never understood what was going on. André Silva wasn't getting the ball as much. Otávio was pretty much covered by João Pereira that had a tremendous game, and Corona didn't do all that much.
Yeah, the second half of the match, Porto's final third presence in Sporting's end was basically non-existent.
Exactly. And also, guys, do you think that Herrera should start for Porto? Because Honestly, once again, same with Layun. I thought he underperformed a lot as well.
I could read the pass he's about to make 5 seconds before he really makes it on my TV at home. He can score some cracking goals every few weeks, but it's time and time again. I've seen a lot of big matches, and it's his passing that starts to fail him first. It's tough to watch. I know I heavily criticize him, but it's because he wears the armband, and thinking back to players who've come through our club in that position, Lucho Gonzalez, who've worn the armband, it's a night and day difference in quality. So it's frustrating for me to see.
Kevin.
Yeah, I have to agree. I'm even surprised he's captain. We can have we have different options where we can pick a captain, but Peter, you know this, and I've said this to you and the guys a bunch of times. I don't really like Herrera. I think he's a bit slow. Simon's right. You can't read the pass. What he's going to do, he'll look up, and there he goes, winding up his foot to pass it, and a lot of the passes get intercepted, or sometimes they're overhit. And I've never really been a fan of Herrera, and he could score some big goals in some big games. But other than that, man, I'd rather see the midfield a little different. I don't know if Napoli is still interested in Herrera. I know that there was rumors.
I think they realized what they were getting into.
Yeah, that's what I tweeted the other day. I think they realized that the numbers that were being thrown around were a little bit silly. I don't think there's going to be a deadline move for Herrera. I think once Oliver gets fully integrated, then Herrera, not that he'll lose the armband or a starting spot, but his minutes are going to start being limited, especially with Andre kind of fighting him for the spot as well.
Yeah, but exactly. Like what? How did you say that he's gonna keep the armband and keep having some minutes when you got Andre that's about 1,000 times better than him?
The armband should be on Danilo.
I think that it should be on the guy that should be an Andre, in my opinion. Danilo came up from Benfica ranks. He's been there for one season. I think Andre deserves it better. And I might help with this question here as well. Do you guys have a captain issue? Because a couple of weeks ago I mentioned Benfica could have Nelson Smith, Feza, Jonas with the armband, Salvi with the armband, Lisandro with the armband, Jardel with the armband. No. And I don't really see anyone that's a leader in that team.
No, we don't have the same issue just because there's so many new faces or young faces. Like Andre Silva's not ready for the armband. Certainly not Otavio. Certainly not Corona. Andre, okay, that's plausible. Felipe Marcano, no way. Alex Telles just came. So if you look at our starting 11 from the weekend, there's really only 2 or 3 candidates with the armband. Everyone else is either too young or too new, or to be honest, too crap.
But exactly, that's my point. You have a leadership issue there at Porto.
That's why I think it should be on Danilo. I have no problem with the armband being on Danilo. Andre his problem was he missed so much last season, and you can't just put the armband on him because his dad played for the club for so many years. He has to forge his way.
Yeah, but he's used to being captain with Guimarães and all that,
that's
so
true.
He knows how to be a leader. But
I mean, if I was the Porto coach, I'd put it on Casillas personally. But I would.
You could, but I've never really liked goalkeeper captains, anyways. Like, there's so many things that happen all over the pitch. You may as well just keep it. And we almost all know that Casillas is probably going to America next season, anyways. So, like, he is a long time and lifelong leader, but you kind of have to think logically for the club and its future, and you can't really expect Casillas to be here next season. So.
Especially when he keeps underperforming. Once again, I thought that he didn't do enough against Sporting. Guys, Oliver Torres and Diogo Jota signed, obviously. How did you guys think that Oliver did? Because I thought, even though he just had to train twice with the team, right? I thought that he did I don't want to say that he did good, but he did okay. In the mean that he tried some long balls. One of them worked out, and they almost Andre Silva almost broke through, but Ruben Smith didn't really let him. I thought that he played okay when he could.
Okay, I'll go ahead first. Yeah, he just simply didn't have his legs under him yet with enough training sessions. I think even especially after this international break here, he'll get in a few more sessions, and I expect him to be up to full speed like how he was 2 years ago. He definitely wasn't any worse than what was out there, but to gamble on a young kid like that in an away match to Sporting when you're down at halftime and he only has 2 training sessions under his legs, it's a bit of a reach to expect him to save the team at that point. But I really do have high hopes for him this season.
Yeah, but that also leaves you the message that hey guys, I got nothing to work with here. I have to use a guy that only trained twice with the team because I got no other options.
Well, yeah, it's true. Like you can't bring Varela off the bench. Like that's a joke. João Teixeira hasn't had any minutes yet. I don't know. It seems like he's still getting called to matches, but Nuno hasn't even thrown him in once. He's sat on the bench now for 5 matches. So to put him in his first time against Sporting, that would have looked desperate as well. So there really wasn't much off the bench that we could do.
Kevin, what did you think of Oliver Torres' performance?
I thought he was all right. I mean, you can't really expect much of him. He just signed, so he didn't have much time to get the system yet. But from what I saw, he made some good passes. And I've said this before. I don't know if he's going to be creative enough for us. I mean, things could change. It's a different coach and a different style and everything else. But yeah, he was okay, and I think that now that he got his first minutes under his belt, especially in a big game like this, especially with the break coming up with Portugal, I think it's going to benefit him. And I do think that, like Simon said, I do think that Herrera is going to start seeing less minutes, and I think that Oliver is going to take his position, and we'll probably see Oliver and Andre with Danilo in the middle.
All right, so guys, I got a question for both of you here, and I've said this many times about what Brahimi said that he did about Porto, but the fact is that apparently now he's on his way to Everton, but he was out of the team for so long that why just not slap him into the team until we find a place for him to go? Because to be honest, he'd still start. I mean, you have no other options besides him. I mean, now with Diogo Jota, you have another player on the wing and even Oliver Torres. But Brahimi has been with the team for a whole year. He should have been training with the team, and he should have been an option to play until he left. At least in my opinion. What do you guys think about it?
It's a political issue, really. Almost more than a sporting quality issue with him. We knew he'd be out the door anyways. I think that they're just looking at it as why even bother. So he's his head is not in it, and we all know that he's just thinking about, well, likely England and Everton, as we heard now. So, and the way that Corona and Otavio were playing towards the match against Sporting, you could very well make a case that they were showing better than really anything Brahimi showed last season. So why would they even do that?
But you don't have backup. You don't have backup. That was the issue. I don't even say start Brahimi. Just have him on the bench because you didn't have backup. You throw in Adrian Lopez on the wing.
Yeah, again, yeah, it's just a politics issue. I don't even think that. What kind of mood is Brahimi even going to be in, just traveling to play 20 minutes and his head's not in? I think the club just, early on, Nuno came in and decided that they made their choice on him, and they made their mind up already. So did it burn him? Maybe. I've seen Brahimi play awful, and it could have even worse in the match. I've seen him play great, and maybe he would have scored. It's all it's all, we can't predict what would have happened.
Um, Kevin, would you have liked to see Brahimi in the squad until he left?
No, not really. And Simon nailed it on the head. I actually really did forget about Brahimi because he hasn't really been there. So, um, to kind of say that like now after we lost against Sporting that we could have used him and blah blah blah, um, that could just be an excuse. But he's on his way out. We don't need him. Um, they could have still like had him train with the team and give him minutes, and you know, I don't know if it'll drop in value a little bit, seeing that he's not playing. I don't know if that'll be a factor in any negotiations of where he might be going. But I heard Everton, I heard Galatasaray. Not really sure where he's going, if he's being sold or loaned out. We'll see. But yeah, I don't have really much to say on Brahimi.
Mm-hmm. Uh, just one more question related to the game itself. Like we've all said before, the first 20 minutes, Porto's midfield played really well. Even though Jorge did the tactical change, do you guys think that you need to line up the midfield differently to stay with that type of football that you guys had the first 20 minutes? So basically, my question is, do you keep the new Andre, and Herrera, or do you switch out the midfield and play different players?
I think they'll stay in their 4-3-3 formation, but I think in a few weeks' time there will be some different names in the midfield, or at least to start the match. Um, I think the days of Danilo, Andre, and Herrera are probably getting limited, especially if another poor performance comes. So I would expect changes, yes.
Okay, Kevin.
Yeah, there will be some changes. Like I said, I think that Herrera's eventually going to get pushed to the bench by Oliver. Hopefully, because that'll be a good thing. Uh, yeah, there's not really much to add there. Um, I do like the way that the midfield was lined up though, starting the match, minus Herrera because I thought he was just crap the whole match. But yeah, I would like to see Oliver take over Herrera's spot.
The question here: do you guys rather see Oliver as a number 10, or do you rather see Otavio as the number 10 for the team?
Well, we're on a shortage of wingers, so I wouldn't move Otavio away from the wing. And he's done the whole preseason on the left side there, and he's done quite well. So honestly, I wouldn't change kind of what's not broken. I think he's done well, and even after Oliver, there's João Teixeira as well to play there. And even if you want to keep going down the depth chart, there's Evandro as well. So I would not crowd the 10 spot even more just to and leave the wing on such low depth. So no, I would not make that switch.
Kevin.
No, I would leave it the way it is. Otavio is doing good on the wing. He really helps us on the wing, especially with the shortage. I'm glad we got Jota now. He'll add some depth too. But yeah, leave Oliver right in the midfield.
With Corona possibly injured, do you start Jota on the wing?
I would assume the club hasn't said exactly his timeline for return. Luckily, it happened is going into international break, so he's going to have about over 10 days to rest. But Nuno has gone with the 4-4-2 with Adrian and Andre Silva up top, and then dropping Otavio back down. But I think he's starting to get already tired of Adrian, and how he probably should have just put his boot through that ball at the end of the match there. So we'll see what Jota brings. I'm not sure how long Corona's out, but I definitely think that he'll get some starting minutes if Corona needs to miss some matches.
Kevin.
Yeah, I think he should start the next match. So just throw him right into the mix. See what he can do. Who's the next opponent? Is it Guimarães? We have Guimarães at home.
That's right.
Guimarães.
Geez, that's tough. If it was an opponent that's closer to the bottom of the table that you can risk it, I would say yeah. Um, I would put him in. Maybe early in the second half, um, and then start him whenever we get like um, an opponent of lesser quality. If you get no disrespect to any of the teams, but there are some teams that you can just throw him in there to start and see what he can do. That's a good way to start. But for the next match, geez, that's tough. That's a tough question because do you really want to start um, Adrian Lopez on the wing? I want to see Jota. I think everybody wants to see Jota. I think Simon would agree. See Jota, see what he can do, and then if we need to bring in Adrian, then do it. But start Jota.
Yeah, guys. Before we move on to Martins India, I got something that just popped into my mind because I've been talking about it through the last couple of weeks, and there's something that I also don't understand is that it seems to be that's a common issue with Benfica, Porto, and Sporting is that players never want to take a chance because Adrian Lopez had that last chance of the game. He could have shot. He decides to pass it backwards. Benfica also had the same issue with Pizzi several times last game. Uh, do you guys think that players are starting to be more afraid to make decisions to shoot?
You can
Anyone
take it,
can help?
Simon.
Simon?
Oh, sorry about that, guys. I thought my mic was on. Yeah, let's just put it this way. He has no left foot and he's low on confidence. So with the game literally hanging on his foot there in the last 10 seconds, I'm not sure what he was planning there, but I know he struggled mentally, especially with his price tag, and he didn't fit in well with Lopetegui's first season. Um, I think it's just he just doesn't have the left foot, which is mind-boggling as a professional footballer. And then without confidence there as well, it's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, but this also extends, at least my opinion, extends for all, for most of the players, because it seems that they are starting to be more afraid to shoot or take chances. Because, like I've said with Pizzi, especially this last Saturday, there were opportunities that he had to shoot, but they always seem to decide to pass it backwards or sideways. Is it a coach thing as well, or do you guys think that the players are starting to be more careful with their decisions?
Yeah, I'll go ahead
Um,
and take this one. I'll take
Go
this one
ahead.
first if that's all right. Yeah. I think it's just a player thing. Uh, like Simon touched upon. He's low on confidence and whatever, but um, take a chance. You know what I mean? Like I felt like his confidence is starting to get back now that he was starting to get more minutes this season, and it could have been just that he made a bad decision. I don't know if that's gonna hurt his morale or his confidence. I mean, it might, but yeah, he should have just shot it. I don't know what he was thinking, but yeah, I think that was more of a player thing. I think it's more of a player thing than it is a coach thing. Um, because when you're playing, you're not thinking of the coach. You're thinking about what you're going to do next. So that's how I feel about that.
All right. So there's also Martins in the rumor. Simon, fill us in. Where is he going now?
Okay, the most recent information that I've been able to gather, it's going to be Stoke City. As a matter of fact, it will be a loan. Unfortunately, they'll pay approximately 1.5 to 2 million euros for the season-long loan, and come next July, they will have a buy option of 10 million euros. And just to remind everybody, FC Porto originally paid 7.7 million euro for Martins Indy.
Okay, so that's a good deal. But why was he pushed out of the team in the first time? Like I don't honestly don't know. Do you remember why?
There's been no explanation really. I think it's just he's weak in the air. That's really the only thing that I can put together is he's weak in the air. Besides that, I mean, is he worse than Marcano? No, probably not. But maybe it's just because Marcano really has no market value. Martins Indy does have market value, and as we all know, Portuguese clubs have to make sales every summer. So you put 2 plus 2 together, and then we get our answer, right?
Mhm. Um, Kevin, what do you think of Martinsini going out on loan and an option to buy of 10 million?
Um, Honestly, I hope that he does well there and we can cash in on him. Watching Martin Zindi last season, I found him standing around quite a bit, and he's not that good in the air, like Simon said. Um, he's just kind of lazy, I guess, is the word that I want to use. Um, Not unlucky, really, just a little bit lazy, standing around ball watching, and then when the ball goes in, and he's looking around at who should have been covering, and there he is. He's the one that should have been covering the player. So, I hope he does good at Stoke. He gets sold, and they exercise the option to buy. That would be ideal. That would be a very good deal. They pay for the loan, and then an additional, what was it, 10 million, Simon? You said.
That's the running rumor that I can put together right now. Yes.
Okay, so I think that's a great deal for us. So, given what we paid for him originally and how he's not really playing, so yeah, I wouldn't mind to see him go and cash in on him.
All right, and this latest one with Mangala, what happened? Because Porto was never the attractive offer, obviously, but now they're saying that he's not going to come because he found a better offer. What's happening here, Simon?
That's what I'm trying to put together too. I'm still trying to gather some information on it. It just kind of happened about an hour before we started filming that there was a quote-unquote a better financial offer. As you said, though, we were never the financial front runners on this anyways. I don't know. The reason that he was coming here was just his willingness to come back to a club that he liked. So that's what we had in our pocket. I really doubt that Martin's in. I really doubt that Mangala changed his mind of the club that he wanted to play for, just because of financials. To me, when George Mendes is involved in anything, then as he says in the Ronaldo movie, anything is possible. So. If I've heard PSG, I've heard some other names as well, and we know how deep their pockets run with petrodollars. So if it makes George Mendes happy for his commissions, then we're not going to be getting him. So I'm still trying to gather more information on it, but it looks like it was turned on its head. And at this point, I think any center back option for Porto on deadline day, it's going to have to be domestic. It's going to have to be Bolly. It's going to have to be Marcelo, Josue Sa, Nelson Mont, something like that.
That sounds like a good one. Actually, sorry. Before I ask you, Kevin, we actually talked about Nelson Mont. I thought it was last week, but I honestly don't remember why the deal broke through. What happened there? I don't remember what happened. Because in January, I believe you guys had a deal settled with Riwab, and then all of a sudden, you guys just dropped it. Do you know what happened?
I think it was something with Ryuov wanted a player in return on a loan. I think that's what it was, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if Simon remembers, but I think that's what it was.
I have no memory of it. Sorry.
God damn it.
That's the thing that comes to my mind, though. That was they were gonna sell Moon to Ryuov, and they were supposed to get a player on loan, and I think that the player that they wanted, I can't remember who it was, Porto didn't want it, so I think that's why it collapsed, and it was like last minute too.
Yeah, that's why I was asking, because I thought you'd remember. But Mangala, then, what do you think about that he's not joining, Kevin?
That sucks. I would have liked to see him come back. Besides PSG, like Simon mentioned, I just started seeing recently, just before we started the podcast, that Tottenham threw their hat in the ring. I think it was Napoli also. So I'm not really sure what's going on there. I'm sure we'll hear something later tonight. Definitely by tomorrow, obviously, because it's deadline day. But yeah, it sucks. I was looking forward to him coming because he's a boss, and he did great for us then, and I'm sure he'd be great for us now. But it just sucks.
It would have really solidified our team for sure.
Definitely.
And especially going for such a downgrade that is Bali, right?
Oh God.
I know. It's depressing to think about, but unfortunately, our league doesn't have the oil money in it, so we have to get used to losing out to these teams with deep pockets.
Do you not think that Ricardo Ferreira would be a better choice than Bali? I like him personally more.
I
Yeah,
agree.
as do I. And as a matter of fact, he's from the city I'm from, which is really rare, as
Yeah,
you guys might know. I'm in Canada, so it'd be really cool to see him in the team.
yeah. I live about 30 minutes away from him, like where he was born. So
Hmm.
we live pretty close. That's sick.
Mm-hmm. So I think that's it on Porto rumors. Unless you got, I've heard the Kayembe thing. So can you just give us, Simon? Can you just give us the latest on anything we didn't talk about?
Okay, I've just received a bunch of information here, so I'll just run down it quickly. I'm actually tweeting as we're doing this podcast here. So I have Lika being sold to Nottingham Forest for 350,000 euros. Diego Reyes is definitely going to go back to Spain on loan. It looks like Catalan club Espanyol is going to pick him up. So FC Porto will probably get about $500,000 for the loan and a buy option around $7 million. As you just said, Kayembe looks to be headed to the blue side of Lisbon, which is Belenenses, and I think that's just about it.
All right. So moving on to the thing that was talked about this weekend extensively. I'm just gonna run down for a couple of plays and have you guys' opinion on this. Now, I'm gonna be absolutely neutral on this because I honestly didn't care who the hell won. I mean, obviously I would prefer Porto because I just despise Bruno Carvalho, which makes me hate Sporting more than Porto, which is just very very difficult to do. But so my opinion to start off on all the three goals. I think that the first one is a clear foul on Danilo. I don't even know why people were discussing that. The second one, I feel if anything to discuss is that Slimani dived, but honestly, you can't even really see that he got touched or not on that goal. I don't think there's any type of handball by Gelson. The third one, in my opinion, is not a handball. I mean, the ball does touch the arm or the hand, but I feel like it's casual because he's running, so he's going into the ball, and I don't think he makes any movement to hit the ball with his hand as well. I know that's a little bit controversial. So, what do you guys think about that, Simon? I'm gonna let you start.
Well, in our league, we've all seen probably terrible refereeing call that a handball before and not call that a handball before. I know that the argument of the ball struck his hand or went to his hand, and that's probably valid, but let's also remember that even if it gives him an advantage in play, quote unquote, it's supposed to be blown dead. And even if the ball was directed towards his hand, it went off his hand and basically to his foot. And being in our area, I would classify that as a quote unquote advantage in play, and it should have been blown dead.
Okay, but let me ask you if it was a different scenario. If it was, let's say that it's a Sporting player heading the ball onto a Porto defender, would you have called a penalty?
You mean heading it onto our defender's handball in the area?
The same situation, but with the different players. They switched out.
Well, using the logic that I would say, as we said, if it is a ball to hand but a quote unquote advantage in play, listen, you have to put nothing past our league refs, and we've seen those called penalties before all the time. So I can't imagine a scenario where that it would be unthinkable that they would call a penalty. So I would believe that a penalty could be called there.
Okay, Kevin, what do you think of all the three goals? If there's any type of mistake by the referee in any of them?
Oh, definitely. Plenty of mistakes. It's so annoying to watch. Going back to the free kick that led to the Sporting goal, Slimani fouled the Porto player, and also he dove on the same play. Then the ball hits the post. Yeah, Gelson does chest it, but watch closely. He controls it with his arm, and he shoots it, and Casillas still saved it. It had to take Slimani to tap it in. So, that was damn. That's so annoying. And then the second goal, and I agree with Simon. You know, that's a totally like what you were trying to ask us, and I get what your question was, Peter. Um, like Simon said, if the Sporting defender, what was it? What was the question again? If the Sporting,
If he was switched out, if he was Brian Ruiz heading the ball and
okay,
hitting Marcano on the hand, basically, or Felipe or whatever.
yeah, that's not a penalty if his arm is close to his body and he doesn't like make a movement to the ball. It's not that
Which
Brian
is
Ruiz play.
that's what I think exactly happened with Brian Ruiz because the ball, like his hands were close to the body. I thought that he was just in a running motion, but go on.
He was looking right at the ball and he kind of like turned his body a little bit towards the ball. It looked slightly, and it did cause a big advantage and it led to the goal. So that shouldn't have even counted. It was just not our day, and the referee was going to go against us every single time, and it's happened to us a lot often. Thiago Martins didn't have the balls to show any reds to any Sporting players, but then in the Champions League, the referee in the second leg, he ejected two Roma players. So it goes to show you the criteria of Portuguese refs who are shit and European refs who, we do get screwed in Europe quite a bit, but I do have to give credit to the referee from the second leg and the first leg. They did a good job officiating those matches. There was no controversial plays besides the missed handball in the first leg. But yeah, it was just disgusting and atrocious.
But if I may ask you guys, do you think that it's a hard decision though? That the handball is a hard decision, and you give the benefit of the doubt to the referee, or do you think that there's no doubt that it was a handball and he should have called it?
It's difficult to say, especially because I've never refereed football a day in my life. But generally, when you're in such a close attacking position and you have a handball, accidental or not, if it causes an advantage in play, I think we've seen good referees kill it before. You see, I'm just trying to think logically as our league refs would, as much logic as there is behind it. So I'm trying to answer the questions as a referee might be thinking about it. But a handball in so close to the play,
It's difficult. That's what I wanted to know. Do you guys think that it's a difficult decision, though? That it's not one that you can say that it's a blatant mistake. That's what I want to ask.
It's difficult for me to answer as a neutral because we all know which club I support. I'm just trying to put the wording of how it's supposed to be called on the quote-unquote advantage in play, whether or not the ball went to his hand. Is his hand caused the ball to fall right to his foot and then go into the back of the net for a goal? That's the point that I'm trying to bring up here.
Simon, I think we lost Simon for a moment here. Kevin, take over while we try and get Simon back on.
It says it's still here for me.
Yeah, he's still here, but he's not talking, so something happened. Kevin, do you think that it's a difficult decision, though, by the referee?
Yeah, it's always a difficult decision, but then again, Andres Silva was clearly onside. There was no question about it, and they called offside.
That's different. We're talking about the assistant referee. I'm talking about this actual handball
But the assistant's
decision.
right there. But the assistant should be watching. Either way. So if you're gonna call a clear onside and offside, you should be able to see a handball on the box. That's
Okay,
just
so
my opinion.
do you think that it's a blatant wrong decision?
Do I think so? Yeah, I do, and I do have my reasons, and everybody knows what they are.
Yeah, no, and you've said that. Alex, you've seen the goals. Well, at least most likely you have. Do you
Yeah,
think
I
that
have.
there's handball by Brian Ruiz, or is it accidental?
It's accidental. I said that earlier.
I,
Kind of
thi- I
just.
think I think it's. I have to be honest and absolutely neutral. I think it's accidental.
Oh, there's no doubt that it's accidental. There's no argument that it's accidental, but nonetheless, it gives an advantage in play, and it's supposed to. The play should die at that moment. It's accidental, 100% accidental.
whenever we're gonna have this discussion, whenever we settle this discussion, is when the rules say, look, it's a handball, it's a foul. He continues to say if the player intended to play the ball with his hand, then it's a foul, and he didn't, it's not. That's what we got right now, and it can always go both ways with different referees. But I think we've settled down on this, so okay. Um, William Carvalho had about at least three plays where he could have gotten yellow carded. There was an elbow. There was a studs up tackle. Before that elbow, do you guys think that William should have been sent off?
Yes.
I tweeted that literally 10 seconds after it happened that he had two yellows in one literal play.
Yeah. Although, let me just point this out: you cannot give out two yellows like that. That is not possible.
Fair enough.
But overall, I thought that he had a couple plays that he could have been yellow carded besides those two. Do you guys think that he should have been sent off?
The match probably should have ended 10 versus 10, to be honest.
Oh, sending off a Porto player? Who?
You can make a. I mean, Otavio came in with a few late tackles. A lot of Porto tackles were kind of just to make up for a hack that they have gotten. I believe Leyoun may have put it an elbow on Slimani. Again, you can make a case for Slimani, Coates. Their elbows were up a lot.
Okay, I was gonna ask about those, so we might just move on from those and ask you guys about the Bruno Cesar challenge late on in the game where he just gets the Porto player. Do you guys think they should have been sent off?
Definitely yes. Oh my god. Like, how can you not give a direct red for a challenge that way? It's no different than what Corona got against Roma. And then it's just like I just said, these European refs who have nothing to do with our league will call it right. But then in Portugal, they'll just like completely blow it off. And it's like they don't have balls to do it. And then it all depends on who you are, like what team you are. And I just think that, Sporting got the benefit in the match. I mean, that's just the way I feel. And I believe that most Porto fans and maybe some neutrals will agree that Sporting did get the benefit that match. And Bruno Cesar should have never finished that game. Slimani should have never finished that game, and Williams should have never finished that game. I'm just, my mind's boggled. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Simon.
it's difficult for a referee. He's got to manage the match, and we're let's be serious here. He's not going to give out 3 red cards to one team in a Clasico, but I think definitely Sporting should have been reduced to 10. Is that why we lost? No. Did it help us? No, he definitely did not help us at all. It disadvantaged us, but it wasn't the full reason. It wasn't the full reason.
Though you have some inflation, it has inflation in the game, though.
That's right, it does, but but we still did not deserve to win.
But and I guess that some Benfiquistas obviously you know how it is when Porto gets robbed or something. They always bring back old challenges, and there's one of Fernando that popped up on Enzo Perez, I believe, and it wasn't even given. It wasn't a foul, it wasn't a red card, and he blatantly just stomped on him. So I guess it happens. I don't think that the referee tried to benefit Sporting, but he obviously did with that ahead of when Herrera was fouled in the midfield, and then Porto have then Sporting has a big chance of scoring, and that André Silva offside. We're gonna finish this off here with the Bruno Cesar tackle and Alex's opinion because I didn't ask him anything. What do you think of that late challenge of Bruno Cesar on Felipe, Alex?
I agree with you guys. I feel like it should have been a direct red card.
Okay, that's good, quick and clean.
Wow.
Short and
Yeah.
simple. I love it, right?
Yeah, that's how I like it. Pointing out important dates, Simon, if you can, with Porto. I'm pointing out 2 Benfica ones. Benfica play Braga on the 19th of September on a Monday at 8 o'clock local, so that's 3 o'clock US, I believe.
That's right.
Porto play Benfica at home on the 6th of November on a Sunday at 6 o'clock local, so that's So 1 o'clock there.
Yeah.
That's right. Yep. 6th of November, which is that's a Sunday. Yeah.
So do you have any Porto dates important besides this one? Maybe a game against Braga or something that you want to point out? 'Cause they just released the schedule.
Yeah, we have Guimarães. It was originally set. I thought it was set for September the 11th, but we are hosting Guimarães on the 10th of September, and then after that, Copenhagen come to the Dragao, and then it is Tondela, Boavista, Leicester away, Nacional, Bruges, Aruca, Setúbal, and then I think after that we get to Benfica.
Okay, so no Champions League game before Benfica?
I don't have the full schedule up like that. I'm not sure. Hopefully,
Okay.
hopefully not. But actually, then again, even if there's Champions League before, both teams have to play Champions League. So
That's what I was gonna ask. But fair enough, since you don't have the schedule up, we might as well go on our way, and we'll talk about it when it comes.
yeah.
So moving on here with some Twitter questions that we got. Obviously, we got a couple of them, not a lot, but we got a few, and one of them comes from Kyle. Kyle obviously couldn't be here today with us, but he says that Ruben Semedo played better than any other player on the pitch, in my opinion. Who was your guys' man of the match? I probably agree. I think Ruben Semedo had a very good game. Actually, I was surprised. He had a very good tackle on Herrera. That was absolutely brilliant, where he just gets the ball first and then takes down Herrera. But it was a great challenge. Overall, I think André Silva had a lot of had a difficult time because of him. So my man of the match probably goes to Ruben Semedo. Alex, who's your man of the match?
I agree with you actually with Semedo. I think he's improved drastically since we recalled him from Setúbal last season, and he's one of the future best center backs in the world. You heard it here first.
Kevin, who's your man of the match?
Freaking Alex. For Porto, I would have to say Philippe. Not only for the goal, but I thought he was very good defensively. For Sporting side, Thiago Martins. No, I'm just kidding. I will have to agree with I have to agree with Semedo for Sporting, and like I said, for Porto, Philippe.
Simon.
Yeah, Ruben Semedo was easily the man of the match. I don't know how much longer Fernando Santos will be able to ignore him, especially with Portugal's center backs aging. So I expect him to be on Seleção very soon. As for Porto, it's kind of hard to pick somebody out. It'd probably just be Danilo or Felipe, but Semedo was by and large easily man of the match.
All right. Joseph asked us, my question is how Porto will do if they don't sign any more center backs. Plus, do you think Shanta is a viable center back option as a panic buy? Simon, I'll let you go.
It's going to be pretty crazy deadline day. I've already seen new names in for center back. The latest is Bolly. Obviously, comparing him to Mangala, it's going to be a massive step down. I do actually rate Bolly quite highly for what he's shown on Braga. I don't mind him, but he's certainly not like Mangala. But if Bolly's being brought into the team, then between him, Felipe, and Marcano, that'll probably be our weak spot again this year.
Kevin, how do you think that Porto will fare if they don't sign any more center backs?
I don't think it'll be the end of the world. I think that we can make it work. We'll have to see what happens, but I would really, really like to see us make a bid for Ricardo Ferreira, and I want to thank Alex for pointing that out because Ricardo Ferreira is a very good defender. So I'd rather him than Bolly, but if Bolly comes, man, I still don't know how I really feel about him.
He'll likely be cheaper as well than Bolly.
And probably
Maybe.
Marcelo too, and I think they're all better than him.
Yeah, hopefully he picks Canada to represent. Him and Kyle Aaron, that could be the future right there.
Oh yeah, Super Canada.
this guy Sean here, he just pointed out the Jack Wilshere thing that we talked about. I already got Alex's opinion on this. He doesn't really want him. I am a huge fan of Jack Wilshere. I would like him at Benfica despite all his injury issues. I mean, we've seen with FaZe as well, because FaZe is a tremendous player, but he's always injured. But when he's not, he's amazing. And if we can keep Jack Wilshere fit, he'd be a tremendous player for our squad. Joseph once again asked on a scale from of 1 to 5 how much were Sporting benefited this weekend. Kevin.
A 10.
Okay, I think this is this is the best question so far. Neil also asked us which Portuguese team will go the farthest in the Champions League. Alex, I'm gonna let you go in on this one first.
Honestly, I gotta say Porto. Just because they got the easiest group, but it depends who they get in the round of 16 to really tell. But I think Porto and Benfica are surely out of their group, and Sporting we can do it, but it'll be tough.
Simon, what do you think?
Yeah, it all comes down to that round of 16 draw. On paper, I always hate jumping to conclusions. As we all know, all Champions League games are difficult, and I've seen Porto top groups which are harder, and I've seen them crash out of groups which are, relatively easy. So, I don't want to speak too quickly, but I think that we could top the group, which would, logically say that we would get an easier round of 16 draw. Benfica should be able to navigate their group as well. I think Sporting, unlucky draw there. They're going to have some difficulties, but we'll see what the round of 16 brings. So, but I expect probably at least 2 clubs for the round of 16, but Sporting really unlucky draw.
Yeah. Kevin, which team do you think is going to go the furthest in the Champions League?
It's going to be Porto or Benfica. Unfortunately for Sporting, they were dealt a very hard group. I think that if they can get a win against Borussia Dortmund and maybe try to get a point from Real Madrid, which is going to be extremely difficult, I think Sporting can make it, but I think they have to beat Borussia Dortmund at least once and try to beat them at home. Yeah, it's going to be very difficult. They could do it at home and then try to get a point on the road. That might be sufficient enough, and I think that a goal difference might be a factor there in that group. We'll have to wait and see.
I think Dortmund sold a lot this summer, but they had a great window. I think that
they signed Schürrle, Fredo.
They signed that Dembele, that young kid.
Yeah, they did a lot of signings while Euro was going on. It was kind of like under the radar. We were all concerned about Euro and the finals, and Dortmund was like, it seemed like they were signing players every 3 days.
Mm-hmm. And they still kept Aubameyang, which is huge, and they signed Götze as well. So
yeah, they're pretty stacked up.
Yeah, very, very difficult side. As my opinion is that should be Benfica and Porto reaching at least the quarterfinals. That's my hope. I think that both teams can go through their groups, even top them. I mean, Benfica needs to get a win against Napoli if you want to top it. But I think Besiktas and Dynamo Kiev are doable. It should be 12 points with them. I mean, we can draw away, but I'm hoping for wins. So I think we should top our group. And normally, the team that you come up against is a second place team, and normally those are easier than first place teams. So let's hope that we both get pretty decent draws.
Yeah. Plus, you get the second leg at home, which I prefer. Although Porto seemed to navigate it decently with Roma. But I've always enjoyed the second leg at home. It gives you the extra edge, especially in extra time if it goes there.
I prefer the other way around.
Do you really?
Yeah, I do, because I think that you can plan out differently if you play away, if you play home first, and if we don't concede, you can go in the second leg and try and score as fast as possible, and then try and defend a little bit. And even if they do get the draw, you'll still be ahead. And then if you score again, they'll have to score two more goals, so you're always ahead. At least that's my point of view.
Fair enough. I've always liked the second leg at home personally. Score draw away, and then you ride the crowd, you ride the emotions at home.
It's difficult though, but that's my opinion because the other team can always snatch an away goal and then it'll make things difficult. We're out of Twitter questions. We got nothing else. I just want to point out that Gianluca Di Marzio, as y'all know, is one of the very top journalists in Italy, has reported that Slimani is going to go to Leicester City for 35 million euros. It should be a done deal, and it should happen tomorrow. Last thing before we go, I want to point out that we're gonna play. Portugal's gonna play Gibraltar this Thursday, 7:45 locals. So that's 2:45 U.S. Eastern Standard. I'm gonna be there watching the game. So there's that. And then we're gonna play on Tuesday against Switzerland. I don't know the date. If anyone knows what time we're playing them, let me know. Does anyone know?
I think it's. Is it 2:45 or 3? I thought it was 3.
I don't have it off the top of my head. I've been a little lazy on the Salazar coverage so far. Sorry about that.
If you could just give me 1 second, Peter, and I can confirm it.
Because there's some rumors that Monaco is really close to signing Salvio, and Gonçalo Guedes is gonna travel to Valencia to sign for them. So that's big if it does happen. Should be decent money for Benfica, and if Gonçalo Guedes does leave, then Rafa's probably shooing to come. So we'll wait on that. We'll see what happens.
The time for Switzerland Portugal is 2:45 Eastern Standard Time. In the United States, that'll give on Fox Sports 1.
Okay,
Yep, 7:45 your time, 2:45 here in the United States, and in Canada for Simon, it'll give on Sportsnet World Now or Sportsnet 1.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right, and next week we're gonna be here. We're gonna be talking about that game if you guys do see it, and we're gonna have Jack on as well. Big friend of mine. We're gonna discuss the transfers. We're gonna go in depth into every single squad. So it should be a good one. We should wrap up Portugal first, clean and quick, and then we'll spend most of the podcast discussing our teams and what we've done on deadline day and throughout the window. So that's all I got for this week. Kevin, I know you like to run down through the scores, so if you may.
Yes. Again, I'm not going to do the tables yet, unless you want me to. I could do top 10. It's up to you if you want me to run down the table.
Wait, can I say something just quickly?
Yeah, go ahead.
Make sure to follow me on Twitter at Rezinho00. Thanks a lot.
Okay, might as well. I'm Peter at Peter1678. Kevin is POR_soccer, and obviously Simon is at FC Porto Global, a former FC Porto World. Give that guy a follow, obviously, if you haven't already. What are you doing? Even some Benfiquistas that I know follow him because he's always on top with Portugal news. So
Yeah, I follow him too.
Alright, so
I like to get logical views.
Thank you very much.
so Kevin.
Not like Kevin.
Yep, and before I run down these scores, and I'll just go through the table quick. I want to thank Simon for coming on, and I want to thank him for the updates that he updates all the Porto fans on, and not just that, with Portugal, he did a very, very good job during the Euro, and I think we should all applaud him for that. Kept us all updated with everything that goes on, and that takes a lot of time to do, pictures, videos, and even just posting about it. So I want to thank you, Simon, for what you do for us.
Yeah, thanks for the kind words, man. I really appreciate it. I love doing it and interacting with everybody, and plenty of banner this past weekend with the match and everything. But no, it's tons of fun, and talking with new people and talking about the sport we love and the country we love. So it's a great time. Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Definitely.
Yeah, hopefully you can come on more times if you want. It's all up to you.
Certainly. Thanks.
It's an open door for you.
Maybe to the Benfica Porto game, you can come on.
Maybe you can come up with Timo as well. That should be an interesting one. Timo and Simon should be a good one. Kevin.
All right. So Vitória de Guimarães 5, Paços Ferreira 3, Tondela 0, Belenenses 1,
Estoril 1, Braga 3, Nacional 1, Benfica 3, Boa Vista 2, Chaves 2, Moreirense 0, Marítimo 1, Sporting 2, Porto 1, damn it, Rio Ave 1, Feirense 0, Setúbal 2, Oruca 0. And just real quick, Sporting is in first with 9 points. Second, third, and fourth, Benfica, Setúbal, and Braga with 7. Fifth and sixth, Guimarães and Porto with 6. Seventh place, Boa Vista with 5. Eighth and ninth, Moreirense and Rio Ave with 4 points. Also Belenenses with 4 points. 11, 12, 13, which is Oruca, Feirense, and Marítimo, all have 3 points. Chaves has 2 points in 14th. 15th and 16th is Paços Ferreira and Tondela with 1 point. And rounding out the bottom of the table, surprisingly, 17th and 18th respectively, Nacional, who has 1 less game played, and Estoril both have 0 points.
Yeah, right before we go, I just want to point out that Marshall are reporting that at least he's going to return to Sporting, but it's deadline day, so why not? You US guys and Canada guys, do not forget that deadline day starts in Portugal in 30 minutes time, so at 7 o'clock, 7 o'clock is when it starts. And the transfer window will be closed tomorrow, the 31st at 7 o'clock for you guys. But deals can come in until 9 o'clock. So keep an eye out for that because everything gets updated until 2 a.m. in Portugal, which is 9 p.m. over there. So keep an eye out for that. But I think that's all we got for this week.
All right, thanks a lot, guys.
All right, thanks, Simon, for coming on. Guys, have a good night, and thanks for listening. And we really do appreciate all the support.
Ciao.